Hello everybody, my name's Tom Blakeson. I am the Chief Creative Officer at Remedy Productions. Remedy, for those who don't know, is one of the companies in the Argonon Group, along with Leopard Films and a few others. Remedy is primarily the music and entertainment company within the Argonon Group. It's got some investment at the moment. It's hoping to expand further into the entertainment field, which is why they got me in. Up until recently, I've been at Endemol UK for a few years, making lots of shiny floor shows and lots of game shows. Some of them hits, some of them very definitely misses, but a couple of them in particular are very relevant to what I want to talk about today, and they are the £1 Million Drop and the Bank Job. Both those shows had, well, regardless of their success on the screen, the £1 Million Job still has some considerable success. The Bank Job considerably less so, but both of them had very successful interactive propositions attached to the shows, propositions that have won plaudits, critical acclaim, and awards. So just in case you don't know everything about those two shows and their interactive propositions, I've got a couple of clips here to show you what they were all about.
This time next week will be our grand final, where the 5 best players from this series will return for the chance of winning even more money. And you could still be here. All of our players got here by playing the Bank Job online game.
The Bank Job is the first game show ever to release an online game before the show itself, as a way to find contestants for the show.
So, welcome to the Vault, everybody.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Good. Good.
Players compete against strangers in online tournaments, win tournament games to become elite, and unlock the exclusive application form for the show. As well as casting the show, it enabled the production team to know the playing style of each of the contestants.
This time last week, Savita played the Bank Job online game, and just look at her now. She's in here with £2,000 in her case.
And the game continues to engage viewers, with over 9 million games played so far.
All you need to do is play the Bank Job online game, where the very last tournament of the series has just started, and you could be here playing for serious cash next week. Let's unlock the box.
This is the £1 Million Drop live.
Think you could do better than a game show contestant? On the £1 Million Drop, you can prove it. Viewers can go online and play the same game as the contestants on screen. They're given a virtual £1 Million and answer the same questions.
Just go and get your laptop, go to channel4.com/drop and play along with us. And if you do, you could be here next weekend playing for a real £1 Million.
Since the series started, over 4 million games have been played, and it's proved popular, peaking at 12.4% of the audience playing along.
If you were watching on Monday, they applied yesterday morning, and here they are in the studio with me and £1 Million in real cold hard cash.
By playing the game, you become part of a live communal event.
The Wobbly Bums, brilliant. In the West Midlands are playing online and they still have £1 million. Well done, Wobbly Bums.
Demographic data builds friendly rivalries between different types of people around the country. And there's always a buzz on social media.
Last night, more than 500,000 games were played. Absolutely amazing. Do you know what? You naughty players at home, you crashed heatworld.com. Everyhit.com has just crashed because everybody's cheating.
Regularly trending in the UK and worldwide.
Now, we know that Philip Schofield is watching. He's just tweeted, congratulations to James and Lawrence, even though they don't like dancing on ice.
Playing the game enhances the viewing experience, making you feel part of a larger event.
Have you beaten the £1 Million Drop?
I can't look.
Let's find out.
But I'm looking. I can't look.
There we go. Oh God! This is really weird. Yes!
So, two shows there that have taken up far too many of my weekends over the last couple of years, unfortunately. But really, really exciting and wonderful shows to work on. Two very different styles of interactivity. Million Pound Drop, obviously, playing along with the game, encourages engagement with the viewers. It enhances the viewer's experience and helps us develop a one-to-one conversation with the viewers playing at home. The Bank Job were a standalone game that took place before the show was on air, but used to source the contestants for the programme, the first time that's ever been done using an online game for a UK game show. I think maybe even worldwide game show. And it also created a lot of buzz before the production came on air. Just a little note, just watching that's reminded me that making the Million Pound Drop, the most annoying but most exciting thing is when you suddenly look at Twitter while you're live on air and realise everyone at home disagrees with one of the answers that you've just given on the show, and you spend the next 5 minutes frantically keeping the show going, but at the same time trying to prove that we were right with the question, not wrong. So engaging with the viewers isn't always a good thing, because usually they just look at Wikipedia and think you've got it wrong. But it's certainly an experience to be making those live shows, having that direct, immediate conversation with your viewers. Interestingly, with both of those programs, neither of them were originally developed with interactive propositions in mind, none at all. They were both developed simply as game shows to pitch to channels. We didn't even think about making them interactive propositions. The Million Pound Drop was just a game we really enjoyed playing and watching other people play in the office. And we wanted to pitch it to Channel 4. And the problem with Channel 4, well, not the problem, but the thing about Channel 4 is that they want all their shows to have a unique Channel 4-ness to them, a certain thing that stands them apart from all the other shows. So we decided that we'd make the Million Pound Drop a live event rather than a game show and sell it that way. And how do you prove and how do you make it necessary for a game show to be a live event? Well, the way to make that necessary is to have a play-along element that engages live interactively with the viewers at home. And so that's where that came from, sort of out of necessity for the channel that we were trying to sell it to. The Bank Job came about because we wanted to build on the success that we'd had with the Million Pound Drop. Talked to Channel 4 and they wanted to know what else we had in development, and the Bank Job was a game we were playing at the time. Really liked it, lots of good questions, really nice mechanic of choosing money from the boxes and that sort of thing. And we realised that that couldn't be an interactive play-along game because the questions came thick and fast in the show, every 10, 15 seconds. And Million Pound Drop is perfect for interactivity because there's a good 60 to 90 seconds between asking a question and revealing the answer. So it gives everyone at home time to catch up and play along, and all the different latencies and delays that the different technologies have in them. You don't need to worry about because there's plenty of time to resolve the game. Can't do that with a on the buzzer against the clock quiz. So we pushed the interactivity to before the show went on air and made that really unique interactive experience of becoming a contestant on the show. But again, the Bank Job itself, when it was first devised, we didn't even think about interactivity. It wasn't even in our minds. It's something that came later. And that's a theme we'll come back to in a little bit. So I've been asked to talk a little bit about the interface between the television creative teams and the technology teams that are making all the software, hardware, apps, digital applications that can enable good, exciting, digital, interactive television broadcasting. So I've been thinking about that and thinking about the relationship between those two teams and come up with a very complicated diagram. I think you'll agree. There it is. It actually did take me a long time to make this because I couldn't work out whether creative should be blue or technical should be blue, but I sort of went with the PowerPoint default, so that's where we are. Now, this isn't just a sort of facile diagram. I am going to be using it to point at quite a lot over the next 20 minutes, and it does neatly sum up what I'm hoping to say today. Now, I can only talk about this by drawing on my own experience, and so I need to let you know a little bit about where I'm coming from and whereabouts on that diagram I sit. When I was a kid, I used to program my Commodore 64, first in BASIC and then in machine code. I did electrical and information sciences at university, and somehow ended up at this end, working in television creative, though I am more at home with a spreadsheet than I am with PowerPoint, as you can probably tell. By the way, I just want to apologise for using the terms creative or technical, because I understand that people in television are very technical. There's a lot of technology they need to deal with. And people on the technical side of things, what are they doing if they're not creating all the time, creating new applications and creating new devices and widgets? So these are just two terms that help us get through the next 20 minutes. But so creative, by which I mean TV producers coming up with ideas for broadcast television, and technical, the people who are devising all the software and hardware that helps the viewers and the production interact with each other. So over the last few years, while I've been working on shows like The £1 Million Drop and Bank Job and other developments, I've identified what I think are three truths. Obviously, there's more than three truths, but these are the three truths I think that if we can all embrace and we can all accept and we can all work with as we go forward, we can make some truly exciting interactive television that builds on what The £1 Million Drop and the Bank Job have already done. Firstly, the main truth, and it's an awkward one, is that these two camps work at totally different timescales. Back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, yes, television, before the internet, before non-linear editing, television was working in weeks and months. You'd be commissioned to make a show 1 January, you wouldn't be on air till the next January. It would take a lot of time, a lot of money, and you'd end up on one of the 3 basic channels. Now, with the internet for research, with non-linear editing, with the speed of computing and the storage, television can take, basically television works on a scale of hours and days. A commissioning editor will ask for a show to be ready in 6 weeks. You've got to fit a lot of stuff into that 6 weeks. And so you can be, with television, you can be coming up with things in the morning that have to be done by the end of that day. You can be changing schedules on a Friday for a studio shoot or a location shoot the following Monday. You've got hundreds of people constantly changing their minds in television. It happens all the time. It's very frustrating for everybody involved, but producers, directors, executive producers, channel commissioning editors, channel controllers, presenters, everyone will change their mind, and they all expect in television for that change of mind, for that change of requirement to be actionable as soon as possible, within hours if not days. Sorry, days if not hours. And that can be tricky when we're working with the other camp, because while you're making software and hardware for interactivity, that takes time, certainly more time than rearranging a shoot for this afternoon does in television. And when you do, first of all, you've got to write or build the stuff, then you've got to bug test it and reliability test it, you've got to penetration test it, probably comply it if you're working with a broadcaster. If it's an app and you want it on the Apple store, then you've got to send it into an opaque system that doesn't get back to you for weeks, and things just take time. I don't think they take too much time, they just take a different amount of time than setting up and changing something in a TV environment does. And I think the two camps need to work together to make sure that everybody is happy with the time that people are taking to make programs. A couple of productions I've worked on have come a cropper. Basically, I mean, in one example, you're going to be on air in January, so we want something up and online interactively at the beginning of December, says the channel. And we turn around and say, well, but it's the middle of November, we can't get a fully complied online game ready by the beginning of December because it's just impossible. And they sort of don't care because they have a slot to fill in January. And so TV works at a very different scale. And I think, how do we solve this? I'm not sure it's a huge problem, but how do we solve it? We've just got to learn to accept the fact that we work at different timescales and don't get frustrated with each other, because that's when problems and errors start, because people start to try and hide the fact that they've made changes so that they don't annoy people, or they try to start to hide the fact that these changes are going to take too long so that they don't disappoint people. And as long as everyone's telling the truth, and we have some people that stay somewhere in the middle of that diagram, somewhere between people who understand the creative and understand the technical side of things, We can have a dialogue that means that we're not making mistakes and we're not under-delivering, or we're not over-promising on our, what we can be brilliant interactive applications. My second truth is I don't think you should let the tail wag the dog, by which I mean, and this comes back to the fact that Bank Job and £1 Million Drop didn't start off as interactive propositions. If you've got a bit of technology, be it software or hardware or whatever, you can't expect a TV company to come up with a brilliant idea for a game show or a TV show that lets that bit of technology sing. I think that's the tail wagging the dog of too much. If we had a good idea for a game show or a TV show, we would have already pitched it. And if it fits well with your bit of technology, or, then great, that works. But it's very, very, very difficult to develop around a specific piece of technology from scratch. The reason this, I think, is the case is that content is all about storytelling. And the technical side of things is about the way we tell those stories. So language is a technology that helps you tell stories. And so all the stuff we're doing now with all our digital interactive technology is helping the creative teams tell their stories in new and innovative ways. But those stories still, they don't come from the technology that tells your story. Books themselves don't make up content. People make up content that the books deliver. And the same is true here, I think. Now, obviously, technical can change the way you tell stories, and that changes the way you come up with stories. So there is a feedback, but it can't be an origination, I think, from one piece of technology. Definitely, creatives are going to be coming up with lots and lots and lots of great content, lots of good stories all the time, and they desperately need the technical to give them the tools by which to tell those stories in ever more increasing new and exciting ways. So we need I think, to solve this problem, because I think there's two camps here. One camp trying to deliver the best content they can, and another camp trying to get everybody to use their technology so that we can all make money. I think we need a contract between the two sides where the creators promise to come to events like BVE and find out everything they can about all the technology that's out there that could help them tell their stories. To meet with the people that make the technology, to find out how it works, to find out what its capabilities are, to find out what its limitations are, and what the possibilities might be. And then they can go away, and while they're coming up with their ideas, while they're developing their shows, 9 months later, they might be sitting around a table with a brilliant idea for something, and they'll go, do you know what? This is exactly the right show for that bit of kit we saw back in BVE in November. Let's get in touch with them, let's get them involved, find out whether this is a good fit. And that's the way I think it has to work. It's got to be technology fitting to the right ideas. And that does mean that the technical side of things, they have to promise to tell the creators everything they can about their technology and be open and honest about its capabilities. There's nothing worse than pitching something to a channel based on a bit of technology that then 5 weeks later you find out can't do the thing that you've promised it can do. So we need to be absolutely open about what is achievable, what is possible, and what everything can do. And as long as the creators keep bearing in mind all that technology and promise to consider all their ideas with that technology in mind, then I think we can come up with some very exciting interactive opportunities. Finally, my third truth is that I believe that the best interactive technologies for broadcast television currently, all they do is enhance the behaviour that the audience is already exhibiting. I don't think they're starting anything fresh and new. I think all they're doing is changing the behaviour that is already there. So over the years, we've all already sat down in our front room watching television, chatting to the people in the same room as us about what's on the screen. And then the next day, we'll chat to our work colleagues about what was on television last night. And we may even phone people up during the programme to say, are you watching this? So we're already talking about television. And then Twitter comes along, and things like Zbox come along, and suddenly that conversation we were already having, we can have with literally everybody watching the show at that very moment. And with a massively wider circle of social friends that have been collated through our social media. But all it's doing is enhancing the conversations we were already having. It's not invented a new behaviour. The £1 Million Drop didn't invent a new behaviour. People, I don't understand why anyone would watch a quiz show without trying to answer the questions themselves in their heads. And that's just because they're playing along with the show. They're trying to answer the questions before the contestants can. And all the £1 Million Drop have done is formalise that process, help it, ease it, make it more exciting, give you the opportunity to play against people across the whole country, give you the opportunity to have your name read out on screen when you're doing particularly well. But you were already playing along, and this is just a bit of technology that's helping you play along better and more excitingly. Bank Job, people have applied for game shows, to be on game shows ever since game shows were invented. All the Bank Job online game did was make that more fun and more relevant and give people a chance to play the game before they came to the studio and to play the game before they watched the show. But these people are just coming through an application and audition process like they always would have done. But this interactivity, which is hailed and has won awards for being innovative and new, is just doing something that has always been done in game shows, trying to find contestants. I think that when people are watching X Factor, it's unlikely that they're at home dancing along and singing along with the contestants. So certainly not the majority of the viewers at home. So I think interactive applications for shows like the X Factor or The Voice that rely on motion capture or voice tracking, they're probably not going to succeed in a mass market way, because you're trying to force people at home to do something that they weren't already doing. What they're doing when they're watching things like the X Factor is gossiping. They're judging the contestants. They're arguing or agreeing with the official judges on the show. They're commenting on what people are wearing, what they've said. They're gossiping, and I think it's that sort of interaction that will succeed on shows like that, because it's taking something that people are already doing and enhancing it. Don't try, this is I suppose my conclusion to this, don't try to invent a new behaviour for people at home. Enhance what's already there, enrich what they're already doing, and then spin off and get them to maybe do something that they wouldn't normally have done, but by grabbing them but through something that they were already doing. Enhance existing behaviour is what I'm trying to say. So there are my 3 truths. To recap, these two groups work on different timescales. And we need to accept that and find a way of working with that. Don't assume that the tail can wag the dog. Technology very rarely will be the seed for creativity and origination of a story. It'll help tell that story and then feed back into that creativity to create a new type of creativity. But literally coming in with a black box saying, make a game show around this because I think it works, very rarely will succeed. And build on existing viewer behaviour. Don't try and force them to do something that they're not already doing. Of course, rules are meant to be broken, so hopefully you'll all go out and prove me wrong over the next 12 months and come up with a bit of technology that genuinely kickstarts a content revolution. But I think if you want to play the numbers game, I certainly think that these three truths are something that we should be taking account of. So finally, how do we take account of these 3 truths? I think, coming back to the diagram, we need to populate that centre section with as many people as we can. We need to find, for want of better words, creative technicals and technical creatives who move to the centre and understand each other's languages and working practices, and more importantly, develop a new language and working practice that everybody understands and takes for granted and knows innately. These people already exist, obviously. I don't think there are enough, but certainly at Endemol, our experiences with the £1 Million Drop and Bank Job created more people like this. Schemes like, channels like Channel 4 with their interactive departments and schemes are certainly driving people to want to be in the centre of that diagram, and very definitely working and funding and finding those people is something that Remedy and Argonon is very much at the heart of their move forward into this space. I think, what can we do? When people start in the industries, in both industries, it would be good to push them to learn more about the other one from the very word go, and not assume that someone else will do that work for them. So I urge you to go out and push whichever side you consider yourself to be on in this diagram. The people you work with, yourselves, move yourselves to the centre of that diagram, and then we can all make very, very exciting interactive propositions for our TV shows. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah? No? Okay. Yeah.
I'll ask a question because nobody else will.
Good.
Hello,
Thank you.
Guy Hornsby from Riverside Studios. I totally get people playing along with a game show
Yeah.
as one idea, and I completely get people voting or commenting on a talent show
Yep.
as another interactive way. Do you think there's anything else out there other than quizzes and talent shows?
I hope so. There's non-linear storytelling, which has had some success. But again, this is about the activities that people are already doing, and I don't think people at home, maybe with soaps where people do have an opinion about how a character would react to a situation, is somewhere for that. I think that literally is the billion-dollar question, because they are the activities that people have identified very quickly as being those that we can enhance through interactivity. We're looking for further areas. But one of the reasons I've gravitated towards game shows is that we're doing very well in there, and I enjoy doing it there. But I think there will be more. I think Twitter and Zbox and things like that is a third thing to the two that you mentioned, in that they're not specific to a show, but they are a genuine form of interactivity with every sort of program. And there's more ways that we can enhance people's viewing experience and conversations around viewing as well. Anything else? No. Thank you very much.